Welcome to another episode of the Harvey Hour Fired Up. I am your host, Nathan Harvey. So glad for you to be here today on another episode of the Harvey Hour Fired Up. It is a Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Once again, happy for you guys to be here. We got some pretty big topics entering today's episode of the Harvey Hour Fired Up. So let's jump right into them with our first topic of today. Back I believe Sunday was the women's national basketball tournament championship between LSU and Iowa. And Iowa fell at the feet of LSU. LSU just dominated at the hands of one Angel Reese. But instead of focusing on how good of a game it was, a lot of criticism came out about the taunting job by Angel Reese. She did the John Cena, "You can't see me," and also tapped her finger and said, "Ring me." And that brought a lot of uproar, I would say. Twitter exploded with criticism after that happened. And then, of course, proper lashback, because people were calling it out because Caitlin Clark, the star of Iowa, who Stephen A., I believe, calls her the women's basketball version of Steph Curry, she did the same thing earlier in the tournament, and no one criticized her for doing it. Zero people criticized her for doing it. So I'm going to ask the question of today on our first topic is, do I have any issue with Angel Reese's celebration? I have zero issue with the John Cena, "You can't see me," and the ring tap celebration. I have zero problem with the actual taunt or motion or celebration, whatever you want to call it. Zero. I don't have a problem with Caitlin Clark doing it. I don't have a problem with Angel Reese doing it. The motion. However, I do have a problem with how she did it. People are saying that this is the exact same thing Caitlin Clark did in a prior game, where she walked up to somebody or she was going to her teammates, and while she was getting there, she did the "You can't see me" to an opposing player. Caitlin Clark herself said that she was doing it towards her coach, not towards an opposing player. Angel Reese did it in the face of Caitlin Clark, and not only that, followed her around to do it. That's the part I have a problem with. Actually doing it, I don't care. Because guess what? It's trash talk. It's competition. It's taunting. I have zero problem with doing it. And people are saying, well, we allow it in men's sports. Steph Curry, I'm pretty sure everyone knows who Steph Curry is. He has a new thing where he puts him to sleep. He doesn't do it towards an opposing player. He does it to the fans. He does it to his own team. He doesn't do it in the face of and follow around someone on the opposing team to do it. Joe Burrow himself even did the ring tap in his national championship win a couple years ago. He did it to his bench, not in the face of an opposing team or following around the top player on the opposing team. If she did it to the crowd, by all means, more power to you. You deserve that 1,000%. But to do it and to follow around Caitlin Clark, that's the problem I have with it. In any sport, I don't care what it is, if you purposefully follow around somebody and taunt them, that's a penalty. In the NBA, if you slam dunk on someone and just stare them down, technical foul. In the NFL, if you moss somebody, if you leap over them and grab an interception, if you sack them, and you get up in their face or follow them around and do any sort of gesture, that's a 15-yard penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct, the first of two. The second one, you would be ejected from the game. So we don't allow this kind of taunting in any sport. In any sport. If you show up someone in baseball, whether it be a player or a ref, you're ejected from that game. There are no warnings. There are no penalties. Besides, you're ejected. I guess technically there are warnings, but if you do that, you're going to be ejected, especially if it's against an official. The motion I have zero problem with. I don't care what ethnicity you are, what your identity is, whatever. In the heat of competition, that's what we do. We showboat. We talk trash. And Caitlin Clark, you say, oh, but she talked trash to, I believe it was a player on Louisville. Yeah, when someone's talking to you and you say, yeah, we're up by 15, so shut up, I have no problem with that. That's trash talk. I have zero problem with trash talk. But to follow someone around and to taunt them, that's not allowed in any sport. In any single sport. You are not allowed to follow someone around and taunt them. I don't care what identity you are. I don't think the sport cares what identity you are. If you're playing men's basketball, women's basketball, football of any... Look, I'm not sure of lacrosse or anything like that, but if you show someone up in any major sport, that is a penalty. That is not allowed. So I have no problem with the actual gesture of doing the John Cena "you can't see me" or the ring tap. I have no problem with that whatsoever. I don't care who you are. Do it to the fans. Do it to your own team. But to go and follow someone around on the opposing team after you're crushing them, that I have a problem with. I don't care who you are. So to call this the exact same thing, it's not the exact same thing. Caitlin Clark did not follow anyone around doing the John Cena "you can't see me." Angel Reese did. She followed Caitlin Clark around. Once again, I have no problem with the actual gesture, the actual motion of doing it. That's not what I have a problem with. I don't care who you are. To follow someone around and do it, that's not allowed. That's penalized in every single major sport. In football, you get a taunting penalty. That's one of two before you're ejected. In the NBA, that's a taunting foul, technical foul. You need 2 techs to get ejected. So I think, and people are calling this racist and everything because we're criticizing Angel Reese for doing it. I think in some people, I guarantee you that could be it. But from my perspective of it, from my 2 cents on this entire subject that happened this past weekend, personally me, I feel like, A, it's not the exact same thing. So if you're, maybe it is if you're talking about the actual gesture. If you're talking about the actual gesture of the John Cena "you can't see me," then yes, it is the exact same thing. But if you're talking about context, I love the word context because it covers up a lot of hurt. Because context is probably the most important detail in a lot of situations, not only in sports, but in the world. The context of this is Caitlin Clark did not follow someone around and do it. Angel Reese did. That's the problem I have with it. So to call this the exact same thing is somewhat unfair. Caitlin Clark said she wasn't bothered by it. Good for her. Angel Reese said that that's me and people don't like me for doing it. So what? I'm going to be me. Good for you. 1,000% I support that. Be yourself. But to say that, first of all, people calling it classless. I think that's blowing it way out of proportion. Way out of proportion to call it classless. I think that's where you get the racism in it, calling it classless, comparing it to Caitlin Clark and not bothering her about it. I could agree with that. That's a personal problem towards Angel Reese. That I'm not agreeing with by any means. It is disrespectful, but then again, taunting itself is technically disrespectful. To call it classless is blowing it way out of the water. Is it insulting? Yes. Is it disrespectful? Yes. Is it penalized in every major sport, no matter what gender you are or what your orientation is? Yeah. So to follow someone around in doing it, that's what I have a problem with. The actual gesture, I don't give a damn. Do it. Do it to the fans. Do it to your own team. That's better than showing up a player, following them around and doing it. That's the part I have a problem with. I want to get into our next topic here. Because after Monday's show, the following days, which is yesterday on Tuesday, a report came out about how Bill Belichick was personally himself making calls to shop Mac Jones around to teams like Las Vegas, like Washington, like, I believe I'm not mistaken, there was another team in there that I'm completely forgetting. I think there was like 4 teams. Huh? You're telling me Bill Belichick is shopping his QB1. Because why? There's really only 2 reasons I think why Bill Belichick's doing this. One, he's doing something completely uncharacteristic and going for Lamar Jackson. That's the first one. The second one is he's an idiot. He is an absolute idiot. Let's dive into each scenario if they were true. Let's go with Lamar Jackson route first. Bill Belichick does not spend big money on any player. Would I actually like trading Mac Jones away to then bring in Lamar Jackson? Of course I would. At that point, we'd probably be the second to first best team in the AFC, at least quarterback-wise, depending on how you like Lamar Jackson to a Josh Allen. Lamar's better than Tua. Lamar right now is better than Aaron Rodgers when healthy. That's my big knock on Lamar. When healthy. He's the top 3 player in the league. Mahomes, Burrow, Lamar, in my own personal opinion. First of all, you have to spend uber amounts of money to sign Lamar because he's going for, according to reports, $231 guaranteed, $231 million guaranteed, which is above Deshaun Watson. It doesn't need to be a fully guaranteed contract. He just wants more money than Deshaun Watson guaranteed. So you need to spend a lot of money to get him. A lot of money, which Bill Belichick does not do. He doesn't care what your position is, what your market value is. Once you hit market value, he says, adios, bye-bye. We don't want you anymore. We can't afford you, even when he can. Robert Kraft saying that Meek Mill texted him how Lamar wants to be a Patriot, and then Robert Kraft goes, it's Bill's decision. Putting it on Bill Belichick? Could this be Bill Belichick saying, sure, we'll get Lamar. We'll just start shopping Mac Jones, the guy we spent the 15th pick on back in 2021. I would welcome that because Lamar, even though I love Mac Jones, I think he's been treated unfairly thus far. I would welcome that idea with open arms. You're telling me I get a unanimous MVP, a guy who's won a playoff game? The other 3 playoff games weren't that pretty, but he still won a playoff game. You're telling me I get that? He's uber athletic. His arm could be improved a little bit. I have an issue with his ability to throw the football, at least accuracy-wise, decision-making-wise. If you're telling me I get that talent over what I have now, I would welcome that 100%. It would be uncharacteristic of Bill Belichick to actually sign a player worth that much money and pay him that amount of money because Bill Belichick doesn't do it. But I would welcome that decision. I don't think Bill will do it, though. I think, let's get into the second scenario. Bill Belichick's butthurt over Mac Jones, and people thought it was other teams in the NFL. There was a report by Pro Football Talk, Chris Sims, saying that it wasn't NFL teams, it was Alabama coaches. Mac Jones coming out of Alabama, asking Alabama coaches, is this the proper way to run an offense? Are we doing everything we need to do correctly? And Bill Belichick, according to Tom Curran, disloyal, a bad image, disingenuous. Bill Belichick, he seems pretty butthurt. This does not seem like a football decision. He loves to say he makes the best decisions, or he makes the decisions that are best for the football team. And this doesn't seem like a football decision. Because he literally set Mac Jones up to fail last season. Set him up to fail. Mac Jones, after coming out of his rookie year, wasn't gifted with a wide receiver 1. Wasn't gifted with a phenomenal running back or a phenomenal tight end, even though Ramondre Stevenson is a very, very good back. He's a 1,000-yard season last year. He's not, like he's not a Jacobs or a Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs or Saquon Barkley or a Derrick Henry or whatever. He wasn't gifted a DeAndre Hopkins or a Stephon Diggs or a Devontae Adams type of a player. He wasn't gifted a Travis Kelce or a George Kittle or a Mark Andrews type of a talent. He was gifted with Matt Patricia and Joe Judge as his offensive play callers and offensive coaches. That's how you say, hey, Mac, in your rookie year, you had a higher passer rating than quarterbacks like Tua and Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts. A higher completion percentage than Tom Brady, than Patrick Mahomes, than Matthew Stafford, as well as Lamar Jackson and all those other players. Higher QBR. This is a scale of 0 to 100. of Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa. You had a pretty to very good rookie year. And instead of gifting you something that we can improve on or trying to re-sign Josh McDaniels, we gift you a special teams coordinator who's a failure as a head coach, made Daniel Jones look like a bottom 3 quarterback in the league. And not only that, your play caller will be a failure as a head coach, a coach on the Lions who no player on the defensive side, or I guess on the offensive side, even liked, who's never called an offensive play in his entire career. He'll be your offensive play caller. That's our gift to you, Mac Jones. Because he's my friend. I like him. He was a good coach for us. That's what Bill Belichick set Mac Jones up to do. A guy who, according to a very, very good article, I believe Ben Volin wrote the article from the Boston Globe, Matt Patricia drew up 10 scripted passing plays. Not for a week, for the season. 17 weeks of play. 10 scripted passing plays. This makes no sense. Absolutely no sense. Bill Belichick, this is not a football decision for him. This is a personal decision because he's butthurt that he tried something and people were pushing back. Look at the players that have pushed back on the idea or have supported Mac Jones and his complaining. Rightfully so. Jacoby Myers supported Mac Jones over the season, saying, what Mac has done with fans screaming, Zappy, Zappy, in every single game since Bailey Zappy came in, that took guts. Where is he now? The Patriots didn't try to re-sign him. They lowballed him, and he's currently on the Raiders for the exact same contract on paper as Juju Smith-Schuster. He was butthurt. Jacoby Myers on Twitter said, bruh, really? Kendrick Bourne, who is rumored to be on the trade block, he may very well be gone at some point with the Patriots before his contract's up at the end of this year. He supported Mac Jones. Brian Hoyer spoke up throughout the entire year, supposedly. Where is he now? He got signed by the Raiders. He's not on the Patriots. Players that have spoken up about Bill Belichick's philosophy of hiring Matt Patricia in this dumb experiment are criticized, scrutinized, or not even on the team anymore. Bill Belichick on the defensive side is basically unmatched as a coach. But his personnel decisions on the offensive side have been atrocious. I don't have it in front of me, but Mac Jones and the Patriots unit, they have averaged the 23rd best receiving group in the NFL. That's bottom 10 in the league since Brady left. Actually, including Brady's last year with them, when they signed N'Keal Harry as their first-round draft pick, traded up their second-round pick in that draft, which became DK Metcalf, going to the Seahawks, of course. I don't understand this move whatsoever. Robert Kraft, he's frustrated, deservingly so. His team has been underwhelming, and Bill Belichick has looked like a mediocre head coach without Brady. A la the Browns, a la before Brady on the Patriots, and now post-Brady. He has been a middle-of-the-road coach. His team has not been good. And this ideology of, I could put anyone on this team and still succeed, still make it to the playoffs, still make it to the Super Bowl, and win it because I'm such a great head coach. My defense may as well carry us the rest of the way like it did in the early 2000s. What's that gotten the Patriots thus far? And I'm a Patriots fan, and I'm frustrated. What has that gotten my team so far? A failure of an experiment with Cam Newton, a great rookie year which made it to the playoffs, but got blown out with Mac Jones. His second year of Mac Jones, he gets a play caller who's never called offensive plays in his career, and a special teams coordinator that was a failure of a head coach and made Daniel Jones look like the 26th best quarterback, if we're really pushing it. He was the QB coach of Mac Jones. Look at Daniel Jones before Brian Daboll, a actually good refinement head coach when it comes to quarterbacks. Look at Josh Allen, how he really stepped up his game with Brian Daboll, and look at how he regressed slightly this past season without Brian Daboll. That's Mac Jones QB coach and Mac Jones offensive play caller. That's Bill Belichick's gift after a great rookie season. And now, not only that, you set Mac Jones up to fail. He does as expected, which is to fail, while also trying to figure out how to actually deal with this monstrosity of a situation by going to his former coaches, to his former team, and saying, hey, what the hell am I supposed to do with this situation? What can work? What am I doing wrong? What is our team doing wrong? Trying not to just lay down and take it, but actually to improve on it and hopefully come out of this somewhat successful. But no. After that, Belichick blames Mac Jones essentially by shopping him around, saying Bailey Zappi essentially puts us in a better situation to win than Mac Jones did. It makes no sense. I think Bill Belichick needs to get his feelings out of the way and, like he's always been saying, make the best decision for the football team. For the football team, not for your own personal feelings, because guess what? You signed AB. You actually made that choice. He was gone in 11 days, but you at least signed him. You've signed players with not great pasts. You've brought them in. You've tried to make them work, but that was with Tom Brady, a guy who will take it. Mac Jones is not dealing with this because he knows it's stupid. He knows it's not working. He's actually pushing back. And I respect that. Bailey Zappi? He's the answer? Over Mac Jones, who in college, 77% completion percentage, a tremendous touchdown to interception ratio. He was a great quarterback in college. That's the guy you want to let go? For a guy who played at Western Kentucky? Who looked okay? Primarily the running game. You could look it up. Look at that Browns game. He played pretty well, but the run game was very, very dominant. The Packers game, he threw for 99 yards. There was a pick six that really allowed that game to be as close as it was. Are we sure that the Patriots are making the right decision here? I don't think so whatsoever. Bill Belichick's on the hot seat this year. If he doesn't find any sort of success and he decides, common knowledge, if you're going for two quarterbacks, you really have zero because you don't know who your QB1 is. Make the smart decision and go with Mac Jones, except don't set him up to fail. You brought in Bill O'Brien, and people saying, why did Mac Jones have complaining on the field? Why didn't he just go to Bill Belichick? You think Bill Belichick would take that from a second-year player? Him having issues with the way Bill Belichick runs things? Belichick's ego's above you talk about, it's above the moon. It's above the solar system, his ego. Because he feels like he can do it with anybody. Because he thinks he did do it with everybody because he treats everyone the same no matter who's on his team. He had the greatest quarterback of all time. He would treat him like the 53rd guy on the roster. Everyone was up for Pickens when Brady was there. Because Brady took it, and they said, oh, if Brady's taking this, he's taking a beating. I got to be ready. I have to take it. Because we're talking about Tom Brady here. He's being chewed out. I don't want to be chewed out. Let me get myself in line. The Patriots don't have that figure anymore. They don't have the guy that will take it. And the Patriot way philosophy, it's not working. Outside of Brady, it hasn't really worked at all. Should Bill O'Brien make things better? I damn well hope so. I think it's unfair to blame Mac Jones for Bill Belichick's dumb coaching mistake. I don't think a single quarterback in this league could step into that situation and succeed. Having a defensive play caller and a special teams coordinator be your offensive play caller who scripted 10 passing plays for 17 weeks of play, be your and have the special teams guy, Joe Judge, be your quarterback coach. I said before last year, this may be the most crucial year in Mac Jones' entire career. This may be the most crucial year in the entirety of Mac Jones' entire career in the NFL. And look what happened. You screwed him over, and now you're blaming him by shopping him around because you think Bailey Zappi could be the answer. It's either you're getting Lamar or you're butthurt and an absolute idiot. I do think that will wrap up this episode of the Harvey Hour Fired Up. Great show today. Make sure you tune in on Friday Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. We're going to get another full episode of the Harvey Hour with my dad, of course. This is another Wednesday. Harvey Hour Fired Up. I will see you. If you watch the Harvey Hour Fired Up, I'll be back next Wednesday to get a couple more topics down, a couple more fiery topics, so make sure you tune in on every Wednesday. Actually, right now we're doing every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday going right now, so make sure you tune into every episode of the Harvey Hour or of the Harvey Hour Fired Up. My name's Nathan Harvey. You can listen to the Harvey Hour on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you get your podcasts, or check the links in the description if you have a specified one that you like listening to, whether it be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor.fm. Make sure you go follow me over there. But this will wrap up today's episode of the Harvey Hour Fired Up. My name is Nathan Harvey. Thank you all for watching. Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube. I will see you then.
Introducing video podcasts on Spotify.
Transform your storytelling into a show everyone can watch
or listen to.
Easily upload your video through Anchor, Spotify's free podcast creation tool.
So whether you're showing off a new recipe,
interviewing an exclusive guest,
or uncovering the next mystery,
you can now reach a whole new audience with Spotify.
Podcasting just became more than audio.
Create with Anchor, watch on Spotify.